Hello and welcome to Blow the Whistle. Delighted to welcome you to our brand new show where every Friday we'll be chatting about all things sport, especially in the Northwest. From football to golf, I'm Max Hayes.
And I'm Leo Christian. Make sure you get involved in the conversation by following us on Instagram at blowthewhistle.uos.
First this afternoon, let's take a look back at this week's football. It's certainly been a busy week with Europa League action for Man United.
Our reporter Arthur Berry has more.
So as you can see, I'm currently outside Old Trafford, the stadium of a team that travelled to San Sebastian last night, knowing that they had to beat Real Sociedad by a margin of at least 2 goals if they wanted to finish top of the group and avoid a dreaded playoff tie against one of the 8 teams dropping out of the Champions League spots. Now, Erik ten Hag said going into the game that the importance of winning the game in the way that United needed to do and finishing top of the group was clear and that his players knew exactly what they needed to do. He also told MUTV before the game that his team had a plan A, B and C for the 90 minutes in order to get over the line. And that was pretty clear from the off. We saw Ten Hag sticking to the same 4-2-3-1 formation that we've been seeing all season. The only difference being Bruno starting on the right, Garnacho on the left like we saw at home against Sheriff, and a first start for Donny van de Beek in 11 months. It was a tightly fought contest from the off, but United seemed to get off to the ideal start, with Garnacho proving Erik ten Hag's trust and selecting him was the right decision, with a beautifully taken finish in the 17th minute. Despite this, Sociedad battled well in the first half. Sociedad came out the block in the second half with the same intensity, rallied by their amazing home fans, I have to say. And that's when we saw Plan B introduced in the 58th minute, with Van der Beek coming on for Rashford and Lindelof, one of the only 2 centre-backs playing at the time, for a midfielder, McTominay. And United seemed to switch to what seemed to be a 3-3-4, and it didn't really work. If anything, it opened up Man United more and Sociedad took control of the game. This is when we saw a bit more desperation from Man United as they were chasing that second goal desperately. And in the 82nd minute, we saw a like-for-like change with Eriksen for Fred and the big man Harry Maguire, yes, Harry Maguire coming on for Garnacho and playing as a target man up top alongside Ronaldo. There were a couple of moments of tension as United huffed and puffed, but overall Sociedad saw it through. And the result meaning that Sociedad are now on top of the group on goal difference, and Man United will have to wait until Monday to find out which out of the 8 teams of the Champions League they will have to face for a playoff in February. Back to you in the studio.
Oh, Harry Maguire up top, Leo.
Oh yeah, I know. Never would have thought it.
No, me neither. Man United doing quite well at the moment. Erik ten Hag proving the doubters wrong from the start of the season. That was a pretty poor start from Man United, but they've surely picked it up in the last few weeks.
Yeah, definitely. They had their public, sort of disputes. Erik ten Hag and obviously Cristiano Ronaldo storming out of Old Trafford altogether the other week. Do you think
that was the right decision by ten Hag?
I think so. I think he deserved his consequence. He deserved to miss the next game against Chelsea. Obviously, I think that sorted his head out a bit. Obviously, he's a phenomenal player, but I don't think any player is bigger than the club that they play for. I think looking forward, they look a better team. They look more together, and I think finally this quarrel has sorted itself out.
Yeah, definitely. How far can United go this season, and even in the Europa League?
I think they can go quite far. I think they've definitely got the squad and the squad depth to challenge even for the title of the Europa League. Obviously, Manchester United don't want to be in that competition. They want to be in the Champions League, and they want to be pushing to win the Champions League. But they can definitely go far in this league, in this competition. I think semi-finals would be the expected bare minimum for them, and I think they could go all the way to win it.
Yeah, because you look at a team like Man City and you think, I suppose a lot of Man United fans will be thinking, why can't we be like our neighbours across the road who are doing so well in the Champions League at the moment as well?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Man City are absolutely incredible right now.
They're the best team in the world.
On phenomenal form, and Manchester United will be looking at that with some anguish and some jealousy, to be honest. But yeah, I think that they've definitely got the potential to be back where they need to be.
Yeah, great stuff.
Pep Guardiola was full of praise for his side against Sevilla and ensured that they maintained an undefeated run in the group stage of the Champions League.
And he went on to praise talented 17-year-old fullback Rico Lewis, who scored their first goal of the evening.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
What a moment for him.
What a goal, yeah. He's a fantastic player. He's so intelligent. Apart of the skills, individually, so intelligent, so clever. He understands everything. He has the point of aggressivity without the ball, and yeah, he made a fantastic goal, and he played really good.
Man City play Fulham tomorrow with the aim of moving closer to the top of the league. Leo, City, an interesting topic again, a little bit like Man United. Arsenal are competing against them with the league title this season in the Premier League. Do you think City will catch them up and could get a result this weekend, which obviously moves them top of the league?
I think so. I think City have been phenomenal this season, as I previously mentioned. I mean, Erling Haaland has been a phenomenal signing for them. He's been absolutely on fire for the Blues. I'm quite surprised to see Arsenal doing so well. I don't think that they've got the squad depth that Man City or Manchester United have. Obviously, Liverpool have fallen off a bit. They're not challenging for the top of the title. So I think if Man City can sort of get the points they need, get ahead of Arsenal, then no one will stop them in the run for the Premier League title.
I mean, I'm actually quite surprised, like you say. I mean, I think Mikel Arteta is one of the best young managers in Europe, if not possibly the footballing world. He's again proved doubters wrong. Of course, he was Pep's number 2 and almost like he's now beaten Pep to that title race, surely by the end of this season, possibly. But I think Arsenal have got a talented young squad. Do you agree? Yeah,
definitely. They've got lots of talent coming up. I mean, Bukayo Saka coming up, Emi Martinez as well, Emile Smith-Rowe. Yeah. They've definitely got a lot of talented players coming through the youth team, but I look at Arsenal's leadership and I look at the likes of Granit Xhaka and other certain individuals, and I don't think that they have the experience and commitment to the team to go on and win such a prestigious title as the Premier League. You know, you need every single player operating at 110% to achieve that, and I think Man City just edged them out on that.
Yeah, I'm just disappointed that they beat Forest 5-0 the other week. Right, in other footballing news, Salford City travel to Peterborough to kick-start their FA Cup campaign. However, there's been significant changes within the club as Gary Neville has stepped down as chief executive, with Nicky Butt to replace him.
Northern powerhouse Tyson Fury has announced his new fight against Derek Chisora this week. However, many of his fans have been speculating that it's been an easy fight. Our reporter Joe Brain has more.
We're in Manchester city centre today, hitting the streets to find out what the public really think about Tyson Fury's next fight. The heavyweight champion, local to the area, is set to face off with Derek Chisora, his old-time foe, for a third time. So, Tyson Fury, his next fight is with Derek Chisora. Is that the fight that you wanted to see next from Tyson?
Well, I don't know who the other guy is, to be honest.
No, I don't think so at all. I think it's a dead fight.
Would you have rather have seen him fight, say, Anthony Joshua or Alexander Usyk?
I would prefer him to do his current fight. I feel like he would definitely beat Joshua. I don't reckon there's a question about that. He's got a lot more skill than Joshua has, and he's definitely got a lot more power behind him.
Well, everyone's been waiting for the AJ fight for what seems like a lifetime, so I wanted to see that one first. But it was a farce with the whole, allegedly with the whole contract negotiations, so I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but that's the one I think everyone wanted.
Anthony Joshua's were more well known to just the everyday person that isn't like a fanatic boxing fan or whatever, but yeah, I mean, I would watch that as well. Probably it might be more interesting, but then again, I don't know the other person. The other person that's coming through might be amazing.
If Tyson Fury was to fight Anthony Joshua after Chisora and beat Anthony Joshua, would he be considered the best heavyweight of all time?
I don't know about best of all time. Definitely up there. Probably say top 10 in the world that there's been. He's definitely a beast. He's a good fighter. He's got a lot of power behind him. Very skilled, and obviously he's from Bolton, which makes it even better, doesn't it?
Of all time, I think he's already, but I think that would definitely cement it with, amongst those that are doubting. But yeah, I think so.
I don't know who that guy is, that's my favourite. The Rugby League World Cup is in England this year, and both the men's and women's team have got off to a flying start, with the men's team winning every game in the group stage and playing Papua New Guinea in the quarter-finals tomorrow after the Oceanian side beat Wales last weekend.
And the women's team got off to a rampant start against newcomers Brazil, winning 72-4 in the first game. Absolutely incredible scoreline. England play Canada tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. Leo, rugby time now. Let's talk about rugby instead of football for a bit.
Yeah, definitely.
As much as we love football, we mentioned there about the Rugby League World Cup. How good is it to see it in, first of all, England, and then also the final to be at Old Trafford?
I know, yeah, the final being in, obviously, Old Trafford, the north of England, where Rugby League was born and bred. Rugby League's coming home, you could say.
To the north.
To the north, yeah, back to the north. And I think it's brilliant. It gives an opportunity for a lot of young kids to get involved with the sport, whether they play it outside of school or they don't already. Yeah. But I think it's definitely a great opportunity. It'll bring a lot of viewership to the sport as well, with loads of people being able to come and see games that they wouldn't normally be able to see.
Yes, indeed. Right, now the cost of living crisis has affected everyone across the country in some way. With costs going up, it has forced many grassroots football clubs to fold as they are no longer being financed.
Our reporter Sam Alfiant has talked to the chairwoman of football side Beachfield United, Paula James.
How has the cost of living crisis actually affected Beachfield United?
Right, well, what we've done is to stop the players from actually struggling and the parents struggling, so we've put the subs down. So where teams would usually pay, each age group pays a different amount and then they pay it over so many months. So what we did at the end of last season, we reduced it so they paid a month less last season, to try and help them build up a bit of a kitty ready for this season. And what we've done now going from the beginning of this season is reduced all the costs that each team has to pay.
What I was going to say was because you've reduced the fees for some of the players playing for the team. Does that mean the club's actually receiving less now as well, or are you having to use that kitty? So how has that affected the running of the club at all?
Well, we're hoping it's going to be okay, because I had a look at it and had a conversation with the treasurer, and we worked out how much less we were going to get. So I think it probably worked out we were going to get about £2,000 less overall over the year. But because we've got this little bit of money left from the COVID grant, then we're going to be able to subsidise it with that, hopefully, because we don't have any other money coming in. All we get in is what we get from the players. But what I'll use this year as well, we have the Fund for Football grants. We've done that in the past to get training things, to get when we've got new teams, we've got them all, like the coach's bag and the first aid kits, things like that. So we might have to go and use the Fund for Football if anyone's struggling to pay for the winter AstroTurf fees, because that's one thing that hasn't gone down. All the AstroTurf pitches that we use for winter training, they've still gone up to obviously recoup their losses from previous years. So that's gone up, VAT's gone up. So we'll just need to monitor that. And if anyone is struggling, everyone tries to share. No one can have a pitch by themselves. They're always sharing. There's 2 teams on every part of the pitch that they can use for the winter. So we'll just see. But yeah, at the moment, the actual club will take the hit on the loss. So the teams themselves aren't, because we don't want managers having to put money in themselves. But we'll monitor it and see how we go, like halfway through the season.
Yes, very interesting. Leo, an interesting topic of conversation. The cost of living crisis affects everybody, from transport to fuel to keeping even their house warm, basic essentials, but you wouldn't think it affects football clubs.
No, definitely. You see the news broadcasts all the time, there's the headlines, the cost of living crisis, but you never think about grassroots football and how that affects, children's livelihoods. I think it's essential for kids to be able to go out and play footy or rugby or anything like that with their friends, to get some fitness in, a good excuse to see their mates and just have a kickabout and have fun. But the fact that the cost of living crisis is affecting now grassroots football as well is really, really a negative thing for football as a whole. And you saw with things like lockdown, for example, kids couldn't even play football for such a while, and that, you just said it massively affects their livelihood. Definitely. Not only affects their health and their fitness, but it affects their mental health and their personal well-being as well, because they're not able to go out and have a kickabout with their mates. Yeah, it's really, really sad. And staying on football, Leo, what are you up to this weekend, sporting? Liverpool-Tottenham, I think, this weekend, which I'll be watching. Forest-Brentford with your beloved Forest. Are you going to the game?
Yes, I am. I'm trying to get back for train strikes. That's another topic of conversation. I'm sure Salford Weekly will cover that. Yeah, trying to get back for the football and that's such an issue really at the moment with all the train strikes. Definitely. But looking forward to get back and fingers crossed Forest get a win. We need to move off the bottom of the relegation.
Definitely. Score predictions quickly, if you will.
2-1 Forest.
2-1 Forest. Bold prediction.
For Liverpool-Tottenham?
For Liverpool-Tottenham, I think it'll be a close game, but draw. Hopefully Liverpool win in the end. Definitely. Well, that's all for us today. Hope you've enjoyed this first episode of Blow the Whistle.
Yes, and you can follow us on Instagram at blowthewhistle.us, and we'll be back next week at 4 p.m. for all your local sports news. Bye-bye from me.
Bye from me.